Hello all, we are on day 1 of Release What's Weighing You Down, and I'm going to go down the thread, like I said, and go through people's posts. I have so much to say about this whole topic, so these videos could end up being somewhat longer, just with my personal share. So I'm going to start, Carrie, you wrote, so day 1, I wanted to do today kind of on willpower, this idea that we lack willpower, but then I read yours, Carrie, and it fits perfectly in with this. So I'm just going to read your post. Extreme fear of deprivation and hunger. I refuse to avoid certain foods, even if they cause inflammation. I am so sick of diets. Oh, no shit. And I just gain it back. Even though I know the dangers of stroke, high blood pressure, and more, it feels futile. And you end up missing out on sharing with friends and family. The pressure is never ending. This is I just love how this works. Decade after decade, I am learning to not overeat so much because it's uncomfortable and adds to my painful load. I wish I didn't have to eat at all. It would be easier. So years ago when I was in Overeaters Anonymous, we used to talk about that. It was like with alcoholism, you can stop drinking. With food, this is on my phone, so I may get interruptions, like a phone call just came in, so I'll just hit it to avoid. So you have to eat, and this was always this quandary for us. You had to learn how to have a better relationship with food. So the whole idea, I want to bust the myth of willpower. It's not about lacking willpower. That's such it's such bullshit. Because anybody that I know that has experienced struggles with emotional eating, with dealing with your weight, it takes a lot of willpower to every time go, okay, I'm defeated again, but I'm going to try and start this again. So the first thing is to start telling ourselves a new story about lacking willpower. And start to pay attention to all the ways in your life, they can be outside of the food arena, that you do in fact have willpower. That's a really good thing to do, is where do you have willpower in your life? Because it's not about willpower. So just keep that in mind. But this extreme fear of deprivation and hunger. So I remember back when I was struggling with my eating disorder, I would get so crabby, if I went too long and didn't eat. And what I know now and what I've come to understand now years later is that what was starting to happen is when I wasn't anesthetizing myself with food, guess what was bubbling to the surface? Feelings, emotions that I did not want to feel. So it always showed up as irritation, anxiety. I'd be like, we gotta eat. It's time to eat. I think I was avoiding the anxiety that was buried inside of me, the rage that was buried inside of me. So the whole thing, it's so flipping true. Diets don't work. The old cliche, think of the first part of diet, die. It's about learning to have a different relationship with food. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. And I completely understand this, where it's like I refuse to avoid foods. So I say this, so before we go through this 21 days, I just want to be clear. Everything I say here is Marty Murphy's, hey Tana, so happy you're here live, is Marty Murphy's personal opinion from my own experience and what I've come to understand through reading from experts and things like that. But please know, you have to find what is right and true for you. So no matter what I say to you, no matter what my opinion about this stuff, I always say, learn to trust yourself more. If you're in complete disagreement with something I say, honor that about yourself and know that. I'm here to share my own experience, what I know has worked for me, what's helped me overcome, my own challenges with my eating disorder, even pre-tapping. So a preemptor. So a couple other things. Those of you that are new and those of you who have been tapping a while, you can ignore this part or, go check messages. You may have really strong emotion surface when you're tapping. That's a really, really, really good thing. because it's telling you that you've targeted something. And the key is to just keep tapping. When you know that it's a really good thing, that emotions are surfacing, you're not afraid of them then. You're like, oh, okay, this is good. I'm getting to something. So keep that in mind. And the key is just keep tapping. Keep tapping, keep tapping, keep tapping, keep tapping, and eventually you will feel relief. I always say, trust the tapping. So I just wanted to say those few things. I'm not here to be anybody's guru. I don't want that job. I'm here to share my experience and to help you find your own truth and your own way of being in this. So that said, just know, again, these are my opinions. It's what's worked for me. It's what I've seen changing clients. But so much of it is my own experience. So just keep that in mind. So why I wanted to say that first is when I work with clients, what I tell them is you kind of have to let go of the idea that you have to eat a certain way to lose weight right now. In fact, you kind of want to take the food part off the table. You want to not maybe try to diet. Oh, hey, Fiona, right? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not always the best. I'm so excited to be joining the program with you. Thank you for offering your skills, experience, and time. Thank you, Fiona. I'm happy you're here. You and Tana and somebody else is here, but I can't tell. Thanks for that, Fiona. So you kind of got to take the eating plan off the table, and this is why it's so important to trust yourself and definitely seek, attention from your doctor, because this is Marty Murphy's personal opinion. When you go into feeling restricted, even if, and that's why this is so powerful, Carrie, what you shared here, even if they're telling you these foods are causing inflammation and all that, you got to follow what they're telling you. This is your doctor if you're going to them for guidance. But in my experience, that is a setup for failure. If you are feeling highly restricted around food, to me, the stress around that is worse. It's just worse. And it's going to create a longer term problem and challenge for you with the food. Because what I find is when you stay in restriction, especially around food, about emotion, anything, but in the food arena, you're going to have this long term of deprivation. You're going to struggle with it longer. Janine Roth, years ago, who I read her books, she said, you can digest a rock if you're happy. I always remember that line. It stood out for me. So what if there's certain foods you're told you should avoid, and you can tap on the belief that food is bad for you? Why not try it? I mean, what do you have to lose? I have a little bit of a love affair with sugar. My father was a bit of a sugar addict, and it's kind of funny. He told me, I always think of this. My dad was a Marine. He literally, Janine Ross, she's awesome, Tana, right? So check her out. She's an authority. She's been doing this a really long time. I read her back in my 20s. She's great. So my dad, when I came to him, I said, Dad, I'm really struggling with this. Like, I didn't even know what to call it back then. I mean, I started when I was 16 and I'm 56, so 40 years ago. He's like, just stop. Just stop, Marty. I'm like, wow, thanks for that Einstein comment, man. I would have stopped if I'd been able to do that. I can't. My dad was able to put down cigarettes and never touch them again, but he could never put sugar down. So what I want to say is, in my own progress, I really do tend to not eat a lot of refined sugar. It's a choice I make. It's a free choice. I do eat it when I want, but I eat honey products and things like that. I've learned to, over the years, to eat those sources just that are cleaner in my mind, less processed, let's say it that way. And I actually desire them. But again, if you're trying to tell yourself, I shouldn't eat refined sugar. Hey, Karen, just screw Marty. I'm going to still eat it. Like, You have to do what's right for you. You want to pay attention to, here's the bottom line. If you feel like you're restricting yourself, that's going to be the problem. So I don't feel that way. And if I want something like that, I just let myself have it now. And then I cannot tell you the prison that I felt that I was in years ago and the freedom that I feel around it now. When I think back on that, it's astonishing to me. But it really, so what if you could tap on the idea that these foods are going to cause inflammation in me? What if they don't have to? This yada, yada, yada. So back to yours, Carrie. So I totally get it. It's like, I'm tired of restricting myself and the pressure is never ending. And I think about that. I relate this to money too. I always think food and money are so related. Think about any time you pay bills, if you're in a, say, a lack consciousness or your fear around money, do you feel stressed about it? Do you ever feel like, oh, yumbo, this is so much fun? How often do you feel really enthusiastic and feel joy around food if you struggle with this issue? Or is there always some afterwards, even a little guilt, maybe I shouldn't have ate that, or oh, I was a good girl today or a good boy today because I did this, and I'm a bad girl because I did this or that. So it's just the mental freaking gymnastics that we go through. So anyway, we will get to tapping, but for day one, so I just wanted to share so many of the thoughts that I have around this. So, and I want to kind of, we're going to do this on the deprivation thing. So start on the karate chop. And some of you that don't know me that well, I do cuss. If it offends you, if it feels appropriate to me in this, I use it. So if it's offensive to you, just know it can happen and you're free to just like not watch the video. So just know that. So karate chop. Even though I am so sick and tired of this, I'm devastated. I have tried everything I can think of to change my weight, to change my health, to change the way I eat, and nothing lasts for me. And it's devastating. I choose to honor my feelings now. Even though I've heard it all, I lack willpower. I need to just stop. Just put the fork down. I would if I could. I really would. God knows I want to. I choose to accept myself right now. Even though this has been an exhausting journey. Fairly soul depleting, actually. Anytime I have to deal with food, there's always some stress around this. And really not much peace at all. I choose to honor myself right now. All the stress. So much stress. Years and years of deprivation. Punishing myself constantly. Using judgmental thoughts to do it. I can look in the mirror and the judgments just rain down on me. And anytime I deal with food, it's usually pretty unpleasant. I have come to measure my worth by what goes into my body. Oh, I'm good because I ate that. And I'm bad because I had that. This mirrors my childhood. All the stress and judgment. All the anxiety and fear. The mental gymnastics alone are utterly exhausting. I feel trapped in this prison. And I'm so sick and tired of it. And I'm sick of judging myself and being judged. And I just want to honor right now all of this muck. All the years I've suffered and struggled around this issue. All the ways I can constantly judge myself against impossible standards that are put out there for me. And I just want to do my best right now to just send a little loving kindness to myself for all the suffering and struggling, all the years of deprivation, the constant deprivation and lack consciousness that got embedded in me long ago. When I look at myself and I see what I've gone through, I want to cry a river of tears for myself. Because it's definitely not for lack of trying that I haven't overcome this issue. And right here today, I set the intention to just step on the path of learning, because I do need to learn this, to release the judgment that I've rained down on myself. And I may not know how to do that yet, but I like the idea that I can learn to release more and more judgment, even in just little increments, each and every day. I just know I'm so tired of the deprivation. So tired of it all. And I'm open to healing this. And I'm opening myself up now to any information, any help and assistance that can come to me to finally help me heal this. And I'm open to all the ways what I need to know, what I need to learn, and what I need to uncover can come to me. And I also would like for them to come with grace and ease, with some loving kindness. Because I think I've judged myself long enough. In fact, sometimes I've pounded myself to dust with all the judgment. And I'm so totally open, even if I'm scared, to learning to love all of me. Even the part of me that struggles, the part of me that suffered, the part of me that I've judged, because I learned to treat myself the way I was treated. And I'm open to releasing more and more of the judgment each and every day. And I just like the idea that it's possible. And I like the idea that I can learn this. That feels more possible than all the black and white thinking that I learned to have around this issue. And I'm open to that now. And then take a breath. And go back and tap on this as many times as you need to. So one other thing I wanted to say, I noticed in my own progress through this issue is, I'm not kidding when I say it's like noticing those little, like the little wins. I say this all the time because it's important. I keep having these notifications coming up. And the one thing is, like, literally I would start being like, well, I still binged, but at least it was a little bit healthier. Or I binged, but I was aware. I'm not kidding you that one of the first states of progress that I saw on my way out of this was through this, and then out of it was that my awareness was just so heightened that I would binge still, but it was like I couldn't binge unconsciously. I used to be able to do that, just go into a blur. And then I was like, I became hyper conscious to it. That's improvement. It's not that I stopped it in the moment, but I was like, wow, I just so see what I'm doing. And I would be aware of it. And I noticed the more that happened, it was like the less judgmental I started getting about myself. And that is such a key when you can start to become the observer of it and go, wow, God, I'm feeling this, I'm binging, or whatever your way is. I'm overeating right now. I'm eating in secret. Oh my God, I have so many stories I may share on here. It's those things when you start to be really aware of that behavior, you ultimately do become the observer and are like, wow, what's going on in me right now that I feel the need to do this? I mean, I notice it now sometimes when I'm like, wow, I'm really like mowing down on crunchy foods. I must be pissed about something. And I'll notice just with sometimes the voraciousness with what I do it, and I catch it and I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting. And it's so awesome now to just go, oh, okay, that's what's going on. And not feel that imprisonment that I felt before. So anyway, I have no idea how long this is, but just wanted to share this on day one. Thank you all, Christine, Karen, Tana, and I can't quite tell who, let me see. Oh, and Fiona. That's who I can tell has been on here. Thanks so much for being here live. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. And Carrie, thanks for this great post. And I'm just going to keep working my way down this. So have a great rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.